lesbian. Could be very interesting. You've got videos, like if you want to see Report and Opine clips or Burn Pit podcast shorts, you jump on the videos. If you want to watch us live, click on Spreely, go to Spreely TV, and you can look at watch live. You can also watch on your Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku. Here's live. And we got a commercial because don't forget, this is the pre-show. So pre-show right now, you guys get something that the live people just don't. So it's there. Hope that's doing well. All right, also, guys, we got a one-stop shop for everything. If you're a fan of the show, don't forget, I do a ton of stuff all the way from health and wellness. If you got your little snot-nosed kids running around the house and they don't eat their fruits and vegetables and you want a surefire method to get them to eat it without complaint, and you want it for free for up to 20 years, you can get a hold of me, 708-982-0974. You can text me, go, hey, tell me more about this. If you're in that pyramid scam, network marketing, and you just can't make it work, the MLM, the dreaded shit, where you're like, man, I got to call my friends and family. I'm not get a hold of me, 708-982-0974. There's a ton of stuff I do. I can help you out with that. Sitting in with the co-pilot chair today with me, Alon, would you tell everybody about that awesome company you have?
Eggard Watch Company. We're a watch brand. We make some very unique watches. We stand up for traditional American values. And thanks for having me on, as always. Really appreciate it.
Love having you on Mondays. Makes things easier for me. All right, kids, don't forget to check out the other shows on Spreely TV, like the Burn Pit podcast. That's going to be live today, Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Shannon Joy Show. The Pete Santilli's back, dude. Pete Santilli's back with the network. It's kind of awesome. I said Report and Opine. Evening Rants. We got a ton of stuff for people. So, all right. How did your stream didn't go down? Your sister's ass. You ridiculous thing. All right, we're going to do a show now. All right, kids. Welcome. Rants of Izzo here on Spreely Media.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on the show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention. This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your hosts, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Good afternoon. This is Spreely TV. We're broadcasting from the moon, apparently. Yeah. How the hell? You know, the best part about this show is there's a concept called if you can't fix it, feature it. So when shit goes sideways, and you guys think this is some professional $1 million a year show like the Tucker Carlson would have out there, you're out of your fucking mind. Shit goes sideways all the time. You know why? Because you listeners out there who are glorious people who you can find in the chat, by the way, Bev, April, Shone, Sarah, Kelly, all you great people. For the thousands who are listening, you guys, you haven't made us millionaires on the show yet to have a budget that we can really, push some stuff up there. So let's make it happen. Thanks. Rantsofizzo.com. There's a donate button. Let's get some interns involved. All right, it's Monday. Ilan's joining me from Eggard Watches and Inside Fighting. If you've never seen this content on YouTube, I highly recommend it. Before we get to the big conversation about obviously the Trump assassination, you kind of teased a conversation you were having before.
Well, I mean, it has to do with that. I made a post on Instagram about exactly that, about the Trump assassination. And the response I got was something along the lines of white men, deranged white men, being responsible for the majority of violence in America. And the conversation just took a crazy downward turn from there when I started giving statistics about black on black crime. Like 6% of the population being young black men or black men, and them being responsible for 40% of homicide, roughly. That the only group in America to have a leading cause of death as homicide is black men between the ages of 14 to 45. And her response to that, so I was like, can you just concede that your comment is racist and inaccurate? Now, I know people are going to say, oh, you're racist for saying black men, but I'm just stating statistical fact. It has nothing to do with race or anything. This is just a statistical fact on paper. To which she responded, 82 of 151 mass shootings are white men.
82 of 151
Mass shootings.
If you look at, and it's not racist, I'm so tired of it. The definition of racism when I was younger used to, because they change the definitions for their purpose all the time. And now it's just, if you think a thought that's negative about a culture, you're racist. Racist by definition used to mean that if I'm white and there's a black person and I believe that my race is superior to theirs and they are inferior, that's racism. And then you have to compound that with the ability to oppress them. Mm-hmm. I don't have the ability to oppress somebody. I just don't. But now I'm glad you said 6% of the population is responsible for 52% of the violent crimes, because we've been lying for a long time saying that it's a misrepresentation. 13% of the population is responsible for 52% of the violent crimes. That's inaccurate. That's not true. The problem is that it becomes men, mostly the males, are doing it. So you've got now half of that, which is 6%. And then from within that, this is the big part. This is the part that should shock everybody. It's not even half of the males, or it's not even the males, because that means all males are involved. It's a percentage of them. So it could be literally 2% of the population is committing these crimes, and that should scare the shit out of everybody, because the less it gets, the more dense it gets with their problems. And then you can talk like my buddy Phil Chalmers, who's the #1 serial killer in the world, #1 serial killer expert in the world. He'll flat out tell you that the #1 serial killers out there are blacks.
Yeah, so this is the thing with the mass shooting definitions. I was like, go look at the definition they use. They're omitting gang violence. They're omitting mass shootings that come from rough neighborhoods. Inner city crime doesn't count toward mass shooting. So, of course, and again, even within that statistics of 82 of 151, that's still ignoring per capita statistics. 70% of the population per capita is still white identifying, whatever that means. And so even then and yet they can't concede anything. They are incapable of conceding any fact. That's why I was like, this is just such a ridiculous conversation. These are the kind of conversations I have. And I'm like, I'm literally giving you statistics you can't even acknowledge just on a basic level. And then I just call them out. I go, actually, your viewpoint is the reason that the homicide rate is so high in these communities, because you refuse to even acknowledge it's a problem. You're so fixated on white men that you can't even look at the fact that countless children are dying here and say there's something going on, because you can't blame it on a white man.
Do you want to, well, no, you don't have a choice on it. Sorry, it's Monday, so we have to
we got to do the statistics.
Shooting numbers, right. All right, it is Monday, September 16th. I had to renew my insurance policy before it expired today on my vehicle, which I barely ever drive anymore because I'm always on my motorcycle, but there you go. Would you like to guess at how many people were shot this weekend in Chicago? How many people were shot this weekend in Chicago? What answer do you have?
13.
All right, that's how many were shot, you're saying, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that is incorrect. The answer would be 38. 38. Now, would you like to find out how many people were killed?
I'm guessing that my original guess is far more close to that. 13.
4 people have been killed this weekend in Chicago.
Actually,
now, that's fine, sure. Now, would you like to guess? We are in the 16th day. Not even. We're in the 15th and a half day because it's noon. So 15 and a half days have gone by in September. In the first 15 days of September, in the city of Chicago, how many people do you think have been killed? How many people do you think have been killed?
For the weekend, I'm going to go with 14.
Okay, the answer is 23. So 23 divided by 15, that's 1.5333333 people a day. Now, would you like to take a guess how many people have been shot? The total number of people who have been shot in the city of Chicago this first 15 days in September.
125?
Oh, you fuck. Are you looking at something?
No, what's the number?
The number is actually 130. So that's pretty damn close. Let's do the math on that, though. 130 divided by 15. That is 8.66666667 people shot per day in the city of Chicago. Thanks to heyjackass.com for that information. If anybody ever wants to look at the website, go ahead. It clearly means one thing: Black lives don't fucking matter.
You know, it's pretty crazy, actually. What I'm surprised by on the weekend statistics is the survival rate between the amount of shootings to the amount of actual fatalities.
Yeah, because nobody can. I've always said that too. It's kind of shitty when they're using 22s, which a lot of them are not. But if you use a 22 and you get shot in the stomach and you come back after a couple of months of rehab to your gang and you're like, look, I took a few shells in the gut, and you took one for the team for your gang. And it's like, dude, you got shot by a 22 in your fat elbows. It's like, come on.
There's still a high chance of mortality or fatality from being shot with a 22. It's still a dangerous one.
Oh my God, I got a new button. Oh my God, say a swear word in 3, 2, 1.
Fuck.
Oh,
You're off. You're very off.
I don't know.
Shit.
Right. Okay. I need an intern bad, dude. All right, let's look at this again. Let's talk about this. So, for those who were living under a rock over the last couple of days, or the weekend, or whatever, a man named Ryan Wesley Ruth, or Ralph, I don't know how to pronounce it. Brandon Ralph. This guy who played Superman is Ralph, not Ruth. He's 58 years old. He's identified as the suspect who was arrested after allegedly pointing an AK-47 assault rifle at former President Trump at his golf course, according to law enforcement sources. The alleged shooter mounted a GoPro fence on the fence and was intent on filming what would have been the murder of President Trump, officials say. I actually want to pull this article up for us to wind up looking at for a second, because it's got the let me get rid of this here. It's got the map of everything too, because I was curious about this. Martin County Sheriff William Snyder described the suspect of having a calm demeanor after being apprehended by law enforcement. So we're looking at this as a photo here. I don't want to look at that. Come on, man. Come on. Thank you. Fifth hole where Trump was golfing. So he was the shooter left behind a scoped rifle and GoPro camera on the rear. He was. I don't know anything about the distance of this walking wise.
They said it's 500 yards. 300 to 500 yards.
Yeah, it looks like that's okay. So that's 5 football fields. That's not a very long walk. I got some questions, dude. He parked here and he walked 500 yards with a rifle that could have been concealed.
Not so easy to conceal an AK-47. I have one right here. It's pretty big.
Don't show it. We don't want the government to see it. Dude, does this make any sense to you at all?
Nothing's making sense anymore. No, first of all, it's interesting because there's a couple things I want to address. Number one, surveillance over the years has increased tremendously in its capabilities. So the notion that we're less capable of tracking a shooter than more capable than 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago is completely backwards. We're more capable today. This guy does not have guns. Haven't changed that much. A gun was always able to kill somebody. You were always able to, within 500 yards for the past, I don't know how many years, you'd be able to find a rifle that could kill somebody. But what has improved is our ability to stop those people. That's what's improved. And yet, for some reason, when it comes to Donald Trump, in every case, people are managing to get within 300 yards of him with very, very dangerous, not small guns, long rifles. And they're almost shooting him or almost killing him. And within, 2 months, we have 2 attempted assassination attempts.
It's insane. It is utterly insane. And it poses the question that I personally believe that our government is in on this. It's not, as somebody who's is former law enforcement. If Trump came up to the Round Lake area, Illinois, and he's like, man, I want to do a speech here. It does not matter how tactical we are at all. It doesn't matter how many years of service I have on. Doesn't matter how proficient I am with firearm skills. It doesn't matter if I'm a sharpshooter. The federal government will come in and they will, there's no fucking way that street cops would be allowed anywhere near. We would all be investigated for months. They would go into our financials to make sure who we are. And then the day of, it would be like, hey boy, get me coffee. Feds don't like municipal guys. They have a level of arrogance, and it's a massive separation. Not to mention the fact that if you deal with these guys, the detail, the Secret Service, they have an arrogance, and they should, because they're fucking elite, and they've got a responsibility that's pretty damn elite. You would have cops setting up a perimeter. Mm-hmm. I mean, just 500 yards. I don't know. It would be roadblocks. Mm-hmm. I don't, and maybe this is just a normal day that he was golfing. That's the other thing that bothers me. It wasn't an event. He just happened to be golfing. Mm-hmm. So who let him know he was golfing?
That's a big question. Where he would be exactly, and it wasn't his main golf course. It wasn't Mar-a-Lago, whatever Mar-a-Lago. It was some other golf course. They're saying. By the way, I mean, it's an easy shot, 300 to 500 yards. Maybe not on a moving target if you're trying to aim for their head, but center mass.
Wait, the shot was 300 to 500 yards. Because I pulled up. There's a map here that I pulled up, and I'm going to show this again. It looks like where he parked his car was my question. So you've got here on this map on the bottom left here.
Well, he parked his car right near where he was because he managed to get in his car, run away, get into his car. Someone took a picture and then drive away.
I don't understand this. Where was the shooting at? Because here's Mar-a-Lago, here's Trump International Golf Course, and he parks. How many miles away is this?
Oh, that seems like it's quite the distance. That's west.
That's what I'm saying. This is where his vehicle. Oh,
that's where they caught the vehicle. But
I'm a retard.
He was 2 holes over. He was just 2 holes ahead.
Yes.
On the golf course. Yeah.
Okay. I am mentally retarded. For those who are wondering, I am mentally There you go. That's how that works. This is what the I guess the sheriff had to say about this. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area.
The one thing I want to point out, and this is the second time it's happened, the day that Trump was shot at the original, about a month and a half ago or something, I'm blown away that the state police gave a press conference on this. People don't get this. We had a very famous case up here in 2015 called the Fox Lake Lieutenant G.I. Joe or Charles G.I. Joe Glenowitz case. You've heard me talk about it many times. He actually killed himself apparently, but we thought it was a manhunt for 3 cops, for 3 bad guys. Excuse me, that's a Freudian slip at the time. My chief he's all over the media because he headed an agency called Lake County Major Crimes Task Force. And the feds limited what he could say. I have a contact who said he was in the room with him, and the federal government, the FBI told him flat out, if you keep releasing this information and we haven't approved it, we will arrest you. So he had his dick slapped for shit. I cannot. This was a municipal event. It wasn't federal government. I'm shocked as shit. The FBI, the Secret Service allows both a state police captain, I believe it was the last time, and now a sheriff to give press conferences about the details of an ongoing investigation. It blows me away. Absolutely blows me away.
Yeah. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan.
You don't give this shit out the fucking day of an investigation. I'm blown away by this. This to me is telling me somebody is feeding him what to say.
And I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. and we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of.
A witness, the license plate.
Check it out.
It is amazing how convenient all that was. Witness, license plate. How many cars were on that interstate at the time? And they just happened to find the right one. And then the weaponry was left behind at, dear God, what is that from Minority Report? Where they call it Minority Report, where they call it an orgy of evidence, where like Tom Cruise walks in. Was that the movie it's from? The
one where they're setting him up, and
right.
That is Minority Report, where he gets set up for the crime, but they see the future and all that stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but some movie had a reference where it's like, we call that an orgy of evidence, where all that stuff is all over the place.
Yeah, and you have to question it. If it's too convenient, if the evidence is laid out so perfectly, maybe that was Minority Report, because I remember it too.
I remember.
Yeah. But it's I like how you're switching these screens up.
I know, isn't it? It's kind of distracting a little bit.
No, but it's amazing.
Okay.
There's just clearly an entire systemic effect every time something like this happens toward Trump. The last time they covered up all the evidence immediately. The media reported it as he was a conservative, despite the shooter not being a conservative. He had only registered to be a conservative to vote against Trump in the primaries. Otherwise, he had donated toward leftist causes. And then in this, they scrubbed the roof. They scrubbed all the evidence within 24 hours. There were no communications from the day. Then in this case, it's even weirder. The media is not even really covering it. And the media I've seen actually blamed Trump. They said his rhetoric is causing this. It's so crazy what's happening in this country. And people just, the fact that we don't care this time, we're like, it's not as bad as the first one. He wasn't actually hit with a bullet, so it's not a big deal. This is a guy with an AK-47 within 300 to 500 yards of the former president, just less than 2 months after a previous assassination attempt where he was hit by a bullet. And yet we're still talking. By the way, I woke up today. You know what was on the news? January 6th. I'm not joking. I saw articles for January 6th, how one of the people who was arrested now is apologizing to the police, to the Capitol Police, all types of crazy stuff. I'm like, what the hell is going on? We're not talking about this should be, we're almost 4 years after January 6th. Why are we still talking about January 6th? Which, by the way, the committee, it turned out, suppressed information that Trump called for the National Guard to be there prior, by the way. And so, but we're blaming Trump for everything, including now his own assassination. But the rhetoric of the left has nothing to do with why lunatics are popping out of the woodworks to kill Donald Trump. In fact, every liberal who's messaging me based on the videos I make is like, it's a lunatic with a gun. How can you compare it to January 6th? There's a gun problem in America. I'm like, it's so convenient that this gun problem suddenly is just driving every lunatic to kill Donald Trump and no one else. There's no other presidential candidates. No one's trying to shoot Biden. No one's trying to shoot Harris. No one's going after RFK. RFK is probably a legit target, to be fair, but it's all toward Trump. Could it be that you're calling him Hitler every day over and over and over and over again and saying that if he becomes president, that he's going to kill half the country, and the insane rhetoric that they're just going out and spreading? I don't know. There's no accountability for the left. They have their own standards. They can literally do anything they want. And for all the statements that they say, Trump says this, Trump says that, Trump says he's going to do this, they're actually doing it. The left does everything they say Trump says he will do.
Well, and I can't recall, that's the gaslighting. We talked
about
that's
the gaslighting.
10 times.
Yeah, you're projecting exactly what you're doing. You did FISA abuse. You illegally spied on Americans. You are not allowing investigation, or not really investigating the biggest negligence in the history of any type of detail on a president. You are making fake felony charges against the president. You're going after people around the president. You're activating the IRS against political opponents. It's actually you're censoring free speech on social media platforms. You're going after news agencies. I don't know if people remember this, but New York Post was taken down off of Twitter at the time because they had reported on the Hunter Biden laptop. The FBI came out and said that story is false only to a month later after the election, whatever it was, say, no, the story is completely true. We just didn't want to affect the election. So you suppressed true news and censored news media to not affect the election. It's just totally insane. And people are like, oh, it's okay. It's all right. I don't even know. I honestly, I'm just at such a point where I have no idea what to say or do.
It's kind of baffling, isn't it? Where you sit there and it's like I'm at the point, I've said this many times, put the bitch in office. Let the world go to shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm seeing people who are online bragging about voting for her. If you're near me, thank you. You made the top of my shopping list. When it comes time to defending stuff and the world goes to crap, I'm coming to rob you first. I mean, it's pretty simple. You have the blue check marks are amazing on Twitter. Who they've got to be being paid a lot to every single day wake up and your identity is I hate Trump. I love Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
If the swing from Joe Biden just weeks and weeks ago to now Kamala Harris is unreal. And I don't know why I bother and engage on it because they've got to be laughing with their paychecks at home going, Trump hired the assassin to go do, he's planning it. And I'm like, and I can go, yeah, you're an idiot. And they're just like, they don't give a shit because literally
they don't care. But there's no basis in reality. You can't debate anybody because even again, it's like the thing I just opened with. I literally gave the statistics of black on black crime. And I said, can you at least concede this? And they go, no, I can't. I'm like, so what is the point of anything? You've just decided something. It doesn't matter if Kamala Harris goes and does whatever they want. The left, the establishment can literally do anything. They lied to you throughout COVID. They lied to you continuously since then. They spy on American citizens. They violate free speech. They go after political opponents. There's literally people trying to kill the president, but ex-President Trump is still the biggest threat to democracy.
I cannot understand that. And I watched a debate with us. Whenever I'm making food, I'll put on YouTube and watch people who are doing stuff, like giving the debates. And I'm watching Charlie Kirk talk to college kids, and a college kid comes up and says, Donald Trump is the biggest threat to America. And Charlie Kirk starts going on. Was he bigger than what happened in 9/11? Was he bigger than this? Was he bigger than that? Oh, yeah, well, yeah. And the kid kept qualifying his answer. And the only thing I could think of is I don't ever remember being that young and the pride, right? You make a statement, and I'll make a statement, right? When people go, how can you say all cops are bad? And I'll have to sit there and qualify that. I do believe that. And this is what I've learned. I've learned that if I make a statement that's inflammatory and you challenge me on it, I have to sit there and hold fast to my beliefs and then make sure it's just to let you know it's my opinion. It's a opinion based on feeling, and then I'll provide the evidence that supports my argument. These people who are brainwashed without the ability of saying, hey, listen, it's just how I feel about the guy. Like I have no problem with somebody who says, oh, Trump is the worst thing that ever happened to America. And I go, listen, if you hate him personally, if he makes you feel a certain way, awesome. I want to hear what you have to say, but just acknowledge that it's a personality thing you don't like about it. They can't even do that. They cannot do that at all. That's the problem.
I mean, they also just create and this is one of the most dangerous things, is they just create their own standards for what's acceptable and what's not that apply hypocritically depending on who they're dealing with. I mean, because these people are anti-war. We had no new wars under Trump. First president since Carter. We have two under Biden and Kamala Harris. Their explanation, oh, she was just VP. She's not responsible for anything. The border went to shit under Kamala Harris. She was the self-appointed border czar. Oh, it doesn't matter. She was just VP. She's not responsible for anything. And then I'm like, okay, so she's going to fix anything? The same woman you are literally dismissing for new wars that you apparently hate, the border, which is resulting in rape, trafficking of children, fentanyl, drugs being imported into the country, violence, all of that you're against, but you don't blame her for anything. It's like, but if Trump were to say one word, by the way, they hold Trump responsible for Project 2025, it's crazy to see something come out on the news and then see every person who is brainwashed on the left adopt it, have no independent thought, and repeat the exact rhetoric that they were told to repeat, word for word, every person with the same exact argument. And I tell them, what you're saying doesn't make sense. You're a hypocrite. You're saying Trump is fully backing Project 2025. He's on board with 2025. It's secretly what he wants to do. And I go, well, why didn't he do it when he was president? They're like, because he couldn't get away with it at that point. Okay, number one, that doesn't make sense as an argument. I go, okay, so what's his connection to Project 2025? Well, Vance wrote a foreword for the president of the Heritage Foundation, who is on board with Project 2025. What? That's your degree of connection to Trump, despite him denouncing it and despite him speaking out again? They need to find the loosest connection. The loosest. It could be like 15 people. Then I'm like, but what about Tim Walz meeting constantly with Soros? He goes and meets with Soros. He has a history of meeting with fundamentalists. Tim Walz, not responsible for anything. Doesn't matter if he met with fundamentalists. Doesn't matter if he's meeting
China,
with
how involved he is with China.
Doesn't matter. Nothing matters because you can do anything if you're on the left. You are allowed to get away with it. But if you're Trump and you have a third cousin who has a child who had sex with another girl who then had a child, and that child went and committed a crime, you are directly responsible as Donald Trump for the crime and every death that will ever happen after that date, no matter what. That's like this weird fucked up inability to think rationally.
That's the problem, is these people. And it is impossible. It's impossible to show them. And I've thought about this. I've thought about that. I personally believe, and this is my conspiracy theory, our cell phones have done something to us. And I thought about this a while ago. You know, we're on them all the time. They give off frequencies, this and that. I have to wonder if from the dawn of man, you have a switch in your brain that either makes you more empathetic or rational or whatnot. And you've heard over the years that if you're under 25 or under 30 and you're not a liberal, you have no heart. But if you're over 25 or over 30 and you're not a conservative, you have no brain. I definitely was that model. Mm-hmm. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I'm like, man, you know, I was very liberal. And then getting older, I'm like, no, I see the value in like being a conservative. And I talk about I'm balanced. I think that there's some liberal ideologies that are fantastic. I think free healthcare and free education are amazing. But the concept of anything free as a conservative makes me go, A, who's going to pay for it? B, when you give somebody something for free, they don't value it, and it's going to be completely abused. So I have a lot of struggle with that stuff. Well, I think that our food and our cell phones, kind of like an energy source and a conduit, they have to work together in order to do something. I think they poisoned us with our food, and then I think the cell phones activated, just like cigarettes do. They mutate the gene in your body that gives people cancer. That's why some people can smoke for 90 years and like nothing happens to them and others can't. I think the cell phones activated a hyper liberalism with some people in their brains and turned them like these are zombies.
They're
zombies.
I hate to say it. I mean, like my blood pressure is high right now because
you're trying to impose rational thought.
It drives me crazy.
And here's the bigger problem that I know you feel this. By law, you can't, if you look at me and say water in its liquid form is wet, and I do this fucking tap dancing monkey shines justification going, no, because by the properties of water in its vapor form, and you're going, motherfucker, water in its liquid form is literally wet. You can't take my face and shove it in the toilet until I'm like, do you agree? And then start we want to do that, but we can't. That's the problem.
That's what I like. By the way, there's a good analogy here. Philosophical martial arts versus ones who actually fight and spar all the time. And if you're dealing with someone who's just philosophical about their martial arts, I have these people on YouTube that are delusional that write me like 5-page long messages. And I'm like, just come spar with me, bro. Come test what you believe you can do. Let's find out. And if you can kick my ass, I'll give you some respect. But if you can't, then shut the fuck up. You're living in your head. You're not in reality. You're in an imaginary world. So test yourself. And these people now on the left, they exist in their own reality. It's completely devoid of interacting with real reality. They won't debate with you. They won't have conversations where they're willing to concede anything. Their entire purpose is to try and destroy you. If you look at what the left does to people, they tried to do it to RFK. They tried to do it to Tulsi Gabbard. They're trying to do it right now to Alan Dershowitz, who spoke out. They try and do it to anyone who speaks out against them. They did it to Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis was not on the radar, wants to run for president. He's Ron DeSatan all of a sudden. All of a sudden, he's anti this, he's anti that. And they're an entire campaign within 1 week that he's just as big a threat to democracy as Donald Trump. And if there was no Donald Trump, they would replace him with someone else to hate. That's what they rely on. That's how they work. They even went after Bernie Sanders when they didn't want him to be the president. They literally sabotaged him so that Hillary could be president. I mean, that's why they lost.
Well, they did one worse. You know who JFK Jr. was running against for that Senate seat, don't you? Hillary Clinton.
Really? No way.
She had him killed.
No
she had
way.
him killed. 100. Yeah, she ran. Hillary Clinton. I guess they were primarying against each other.
I feel like I honestly feel like I've lost my mind. I'm like, am I the one who's crazy? Am I the one who sees all these things happening? I don't know. It's just like normally I'm a pretty articulate person. Today I have no articulation left. I'm just so done with it all, man.
Oh, hang on. They've got body camera footage. Let's check this out of apparently the traffic stop. And let's look at this. This is from TMZ. Appreciate it. Boom. Yeah, boom.
Driver! Take 2 steps to your right! Take 2 steps to your right! Driver!
I've been on a stick like this before. I've been number 3. Where's he going to shoot? He's left-handed.
He's left-handed and he's in direct line with the two.
The fucking 2 deputies and the car. Yeah. And who the hell is this? Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, I guess they got to work with what they got.
Look straight back! Keep walking! Keep that long.
Look at all these deputies. Do you notice anything about them?
Yeah.
What?
That they're still looking straight ahead?
No. Do we not have any deputies in fucking uniform?
Yeah, there's not because I don't know what happened that day but there's something that happened that nobody was in uniform that day.
Nobody's in uniform on this fucking day. Nobody's in uniform, and they just happened to stop him on the freeway or tollway where deputies patrol.
So my thought for that was that they called in so much, like everyone who was off duty immediately after the attempt, that everyone just went out right away, just grabbed whatever they had to grab, and just run out to try and catch him. But yeah, it makes no sense.
Okay.
But what line are they trying to maintain? Have they cleared the vehicle? Do they know there's no one else in there?
And I don't know why they have them on the passenger side. That's why would you'd have them exit on the driver's side and walk back. All of traffic would be blocked off. It would be a sea of squad cars. So I don't know what they.
Yeah, they blocked I-95 completely. That I know for a fact because there were local announcements.
Okay,
so there could have been no traffic. The whole situation here, if you look at their formation, makes no sense. But whatever, that's just a training issue. That's not a.
Yeah, I don't. This is kind of odd.
If they're still worried about an active threat in the car, why is this guy like? They're just the way they're walking around. Shouldn't they all be putting their attention on actually clearing the vehicle?
I don't know.
Which could have bombs in it, by the way. This is a guy who tried to assassinate the president of the United States.
You'd clear the vehicle after you secure the driver and make sure there's nobody else in there. This is going around too. This is video actually about the suspect. And I wanted to play this. So let's take a look at this.
This is the Ukraine one where he's just.
Yeah, I didn't watch this yet, but I saw it, so I saved it for here. Let's take a look at this together.
6 from the U.S. From North Carolina originally, so I live in Hawaii now. So flew all the way from Hawaii
Plus
here.
you got 2 different color hair.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, they're going to say he's a conservative. I guarantee you. They're going to start reporting that he's a conservative.
The question as far as why I'm here, to me, you know, a lot of the other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is about good versus evil. This is a storybook, you know, any movie we've ever watched, this is definitely evil against good. I mean, we're battling a situation here where, you know, the Ukrainians and the rest of the world are caring and kind and generous and unselfish and take care of one another. And it's just a matter of, you know, we need to stand up for that. That is the most important thing in the world, is just to show human beings that we're kind and we're caring and that we take care of one another and that the world is united so that we feed each other and make sure that, you know, we all move forward as one collective whole unit.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's kind of nuts.
He goes on another rant. Yeah, but it's also, you know, the obsession with Ukraine on the left is very weird to me too. This guy was obsessed with Ukraine, obsessed with Israel, Gaza,
Everything that he's told to be obsessed with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Literally. We're robots, bro. I wonder if we're robots too. I wonder if we're just playing our part and we're equally brainwashed, just like one layer deeper, and we're not seeing what's really going on.
Here we have breaking news on this. Let's check this one out, because the media wants to gaslight this. It's a different story, and we're kind of breaking from. I gotta work these fucking buttons. This is ridiculous. Yeah, there's a school bomb threat in. This is in. Apparently, there's a school bomb threat, and people are blaming Trump and his rhetoric for Haitians eating cats.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I have this up and I have this shared screen, if you are somebody who is sensitive, avert your eyes from what I'm about to play. I'm not going to play the audio because I refuse to listen to it because I don't want to hear it. But for those, I'll play this young lady first here who talks about Haitians and cats. I have no idea who she is, can't verify her, but she's black and she's female, so we're supposed to believe her. We have to. The left says so. So if we're supposed to believe her, let's hear what she has to say.
Shit ain't no joke, it's not funny. I really do not feel fucking safe here, bro. Like, everyone on TikTok, on Facebook, making these jokes to get everything's fucking funny. Like, imagine you being homeless for a whole fucking year for no fucking reason. Like, what the fuck? This shit is not fun. This shit is not cool, bro. They really out here decapitating animals and y'all are making jokes out of it. Imagine if you went outside and you saw your dog's head decapitated on the fucking ground. Like, why are y'all thinking this shit's a joke? It's not a joke. I don't feel comfortable walking anywhere. Like, what the fuck? I should be able to feel safe in my own city. Everybody's fucking homeless out here. Ain't shit but fucking scary ass Haitians just lurking and creeping and shit. Y'all thinking this shit's motherfucking funny? I keep making this shit up. It's not made up, bro. This shit is real life. This shit is really affecting me. Like, what the fuck?
But apparently, everyone's lying.
Well,
yeah.
not only that. I mean, okay, so.
Well,
the left always says, well, what's the greater message here?
Oh,
okay, so Haitians, if in all fair, Trump's message, if there's an immigration problem, Haitians are, and if you look at the crime rate among the immigrant community is significant, especially depending on which group, is significantly higher than the general population in certain cities. That's it. That's a fact. Again, you could be offended by it. You could pretend it's not a problem. But when they're, especially illegal immigration, is contributing to numerous problems in the country.
Of course they do. And you guys got spared. It looks like you or Instagram took, or Facebook, Twitter took it down. And it literally was a guy in Haiti who picked up a live kitten, turned it down its back, and bit its throat out, and then drank its blood because they believe in voodoo and shit. It's culture. It's called, if the age of consent in Mexico is 14. And a 38, 39-year-old guy has sex with a 14-year-old, it's legal. You do it here, it's rape. So just because somebody crosses the border and moves in, I don't think they took the proper classes into learning. Like, hey, listen, you can't do this in this country. which I've always said it was always indicative of a no valid driver's license when you pulled behind somebody who was swerving or speeding, this and that, and that you activated your overhead lights and they stopped right in the middle of the road. Because we're taught in driver's ed, you pull to the right. Well, nobody learns that shit when you cross the border illegally and you don't take a driver's ed course. So the stupid concept that people just give up their traditions when they come into the country, it just kills me. Absolutely kills me. And that's by fucking dumb liberals. So yeah, I spent the last week talking all about Haitians and the cat problems and this, that. It's like these people are in survival mode, and it's voodoo. And what is your
only voodoo? If you have no money and you're hungry and you have to feed yourself or your family, and you can eat a dog, you will eat a dog. You will do it. You might say you won't do it. A lot of people will do it. Additionally, there's a lot of cultures that just eat dogs. I mean, I don't know why this is like all of a sudden some controversial thing to say. Go look at go look in China. Go look at like they literally have dogs tied up on a wall. They're torturing them, and then they cook them alive. I'm like, they're telling me that this is some great new realization for people.
They believe it flavors the meat. I don't know if you remember this. It was literally 5 or 6 years ago. Facebook had this feature where videos would automatically start playing if you scrolled over them. So if I posted a video, you didn't have to sit there and click on it. It would just start playing. And people were sharing dog torture videos like crazy. I found Facebook sat there and said you have an anniversary date on something, and it showed that somebody tagged me in a petition 12 years ago to stop French and Chinese fishermen from using dog as bait. And I'm like, we think this problem just popped out of nowhere?
That's what I don't understand. And the media's acting like it's such a crazy statement. I'm like, there's tons of cultures that don't value dogs as pets. They just don't. Even forget about eating them. They'll just kill them, or you're not allowed to have one in the house. Or they just literally see them the same way we see animals that we don't like as a culture. And there might be another culture out there that Indians, right? Cows are sacred.
Yes.
Cows are sacred. They see us eating cows. It's the same thing as us seeing other cultures eat dogs. Fine. But to pretend that it's not happening anywhere in the world and that these cultures don't come here and keep those same practices when they're brought here in droves is insane to me. And it's not even it's crazy that this is the thing we're talking about. It's crazy that this is still the primary focus of everything that went on in the debate. They're eating cats and dogs. Okay, there's also an extreme amount of rape, there's murder, there's drug importation, there's child trafficking, all happening because we have a shit border that she's not protecting. I have 2 friends who died of fentanyl poisoning, and it came in from the fucking border because she doesn't do anything to secure the border and does not care. And they sit there and pretend like there's no problem, but it's cats and dogs because Donald Trump mentioned that people might be eating cats and dogs because he saw a meme. Again, I don't care what Donald Trump says. I care what people do. Kamala Harris is destroying the country, literally destroying it, causing death. And Donald Trump might say dumb shit every now and again. Like, was it a dumb thing to say during the debate? Yeah, he should have focused on the actual rape, the actual drugs being imported. Huffington Post reported that 80% of women who cross the border illegally are raped. That's a Huffington Post stat. Okay? Even feminists do not deny this problem. Focus on that. Why? You know what I mean? Like, so it's also stupid on his part. The guy doesn't know how to control himself. He gets too excited. But man, today I'm telling you, my blood pressure is 180.
Welcome to the frustration. I'm trying to find it. Somebody sent me a message yesterday, and they flat out said that he's got a lot of people who are friends at the border, and a lot of border agents are at the point where they're going to vote for Harris because she doesn't care and it's less paperwork that they have to do.
Wow.
So I'm like,
that's pretty scary if that's the case.
And I believe it. I believe that shit. I know how cops are. It's like, they don't, okay, dude. It's like if you get to the point where and I've said this a million times too, you really want to know what's going on with the border or if they're eating your cats and dogs, local and federal law enforcement have to be free from the leash of not talking about shit. And if they actually spoke up and said, yeah, this is happening, this is going on, you would hear a whole new world about this crap.
I mean, there are a lot of Border Patrol who do speak up.
Oh, of course, they're made to look like they're crazy or they're what do you call it? jaded and all this shit. Yeah.
You know what I don't understand about Kamala Harris? I don't know what she actually wants to do. I don't know any of her policies. Nobody can answer these questions.
I do. She wants to give you a $6,000 tax break if you open up a small business. Can give you a $50,000 break, which I can't wait to see the line for that. All the people who think they're just going to arbitrarily open up a nail salon or a coffee shop and be like, I want my $50,000. Be like, no, you have to get approved and you have to have a business plan and you have to have a plot and you have to have, they have no idea what they're going to do. And then when you see that you can't really run a business in this market and be successful, good luck with that. And then she wants to give you a $25,000 tax break if you're a new homeowner. So I don't apply for any of those as far as I'm concerned.
Well, not only that, she wants to do 20-something% unrealized capital gains tax on people or companies making more than 100 million. She wants to cap food prices in grocery stores. She wants to cap rent. So, I mean, she's just literally out there. That's what she says she wants to do. But then she also says all of a sudden she's pro-fracking. She went from being anti-fracking to pro-fracking. She's pro-detaining people all of a sudden who come in illegally across the border. But just up until, a few weeks ago, she was not pro this. She was pro historically giving paid for by the government transgender surgeries for illegal immigrants who are detained and criminals in jail. So in other words, if you're a prisoner, you've committed murder, whatever it may be, and you're in jail and you go, I want to be a woman, they will pay for your surgery to become a woman, which is like a $50,000 to $75,000 surgery in some places, $25,000 to $75,000 depending on how it goes, and then transfer you to a female prison. That's what she's for. Illegal immigrants who are in the country illegally should have this paid for. This is positions she was pro her entire career, and then automatically just switched suddenly and doesn't talk about it anymore now that she's running for president. So I have no idea. Is she a moderate and was lying her entire life, or is she an extremist and is lying now? Which one is it?
She's she's proved that you can market anything. She's 100% manufactured, and it's insane the power that marketing has. Really,
It's an entire establishment. It's all of the media. It's all of the press. It's the hypocritical moderators at a debate that didn't ask her one hard question.
They just acknowledged I'm paraphrasing what I read, that the moderators were in favor for her than him. They showed that the female was a sorority sister of her. They can do whatever they want because there'll be no accountability. I think there's only one way out of this. When you find something like that, and the damage is done, you have to start going, okay, we can't do anything about it, but how can we prevent this? There needs to be classical conditioning. If you have a politician who actively lies about something purposefully, and it's black and white, Donald Trump did whatever, blah, 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 that politician should be fair game to have the living shit beat out of them by whoever wants to. If you're a moderator and you do what they did, you got to hire your own detail. If we can get to you, we can get to you. We're not allowed to do anything other than beating the shit out of you. But it needs to be classical conditioning to where you're like, I need to stop getting away with what I get away with and start having more integrity. Because
there could actually be legal liability, at least. You know what's, again, hypocritical standards? Alex Jones, who I'm not a fan of, by the way. There's a lot of things that Alex Jones says that I disagree with. I think he was spot on with the atrazine thing, which there's some great documentaries on. The whole gay frog thing, as much as people think it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's real. There's like legitimate heavy duty science behind it. It's become illegal since then. Atrazine is not. Anyway, I'm going on an atrazine rant, but you talk about feminizing men. You talk about like what's happening in society that's made people turn into these. Look up the whole atrazine story. There's a great documentary on YouTube, which does not focus on Alex Jones, focuses on the scientists who did the research and how the EPA covered it up.
Why is it? It blows me away when people say shit like that isn't true. When you drink alcohol, it lowers your inhibition to do shit that you wouldn't normally do. Mm-hmm. So how is it that when a drug is introduced, you're going to say it doesn't do what it does? The most basic, easily consumed product on the planet, alcohol, will change your mindset to do shit. When I was on Tren, I talk about this often. I did Tren for 6 weeks. I would have fucked a tree. So it's like, don't tell me that these drugs that we put in our body do not change us.
And everyone should look up the atrazine documentaries. It's very, very, very telling of just the stuff that happens. But what was I talking about? Hypocritical standards. the hypocritical standards, which Alex Jones gets sued for first 100 million, then they upped it to $1 billion for reporting inaccurately about Sandy Hook. And just, by the way, reporting what he was hearing. He never said this is what I believe. He never said this is fact. He said there's reports of this. Look at this person here laughing. Now, I might not agree with it again, but to sue him for $1 billion and then say, well, we literally have moderators that only fact-checked in one direction in a major presidential debate, in only one direction, and let her get away with every lie, which are now proving to come out. You have active servicemen in combat zones who are literally saying, we're here. Like, they're making videos of themselves and laughing at her. Like, that's a lie.
My fucking cousin is active.
Why was she not fact-checked? That alone should make you liable. You lied in a public forum. You are the news. You're a journalist. You're self-proclaimed, just like Alex Jones. It's the exact same thing, and you cause significant harm because 50% of or 100, whoever watched cannot get accurate information now. And you did it intentionally. There's a great. I think I've talked to you about this before, but there's a movie that came out years ago about the Holocaust, people denying the Holocaust. This guy. Anyway, what happened was, in the end, there was a libel suit from the guy who denied the Holocaust to a woman who wrote a book about him, calling him a scumbag, and he's doing it for money, and he's intentional. So he said it's libel, and she had to do two things. She had to prove that the Holocaust happened, and then she had to prove that he intentionally denied the Holocaust. Not through his belief, but he intentionally did it for some kind of gain. And the way she proved it is his whole argument was everything she proved false of his, right? So she kept saying, this is false, this is false. She had to prove it in court. Finally, the last thing that the judge decided on was, he said, every mistake you made went in one direction, denial of the Holocaust. Every mistake in your book that you published went in just one direction. In other words, you didn't ever make mistakes in the other direction that might have favored the opposite argument. All that we see on the left from journalists are mistakes, headlines that have to be redone, stories that have to be recalled, always in one direction. It's always anti whatever the thing they're against, Trump, anti this, anti that. So it's always just in that. They never make a mistake that supports the other side. It's conveniently always mistakes that just vilify Donald Trump. So at some point, I'm sorry, if you make 33 fact checks toward Donald Trump and you missed 30 on Kamala Harris, that's no longer a mistake. That's proven to be intentional.
I've seen this my whole life. I remember when I was a kid, Reagan, and I don't remember him I was 6, right, when he was shot and whatnot. And I remember it kind of being a big deal. But as I got older, I remember all they did was mock Reagan. If anybody's seen, it's a fantastic video. Not the Disturbed one, which was a remake, but Genesis, Land of Confusion. It's a fantastic music video, and music videos, it's all about mocking Reagan, making fun of Reagan. I watched them make fun of George Bush. But when you attacked Bill Clinton and his affair, and you're a conservative, I watched them vilify the shit out of conservatives. Democrats have always been protected. Always been protected. So this is nothing new. These are a bunch of insane people. They're just fucking insane. And I think
look at Bush. He was the most hated president, probably one of the top most hated presidents in history, ends up speaking out against Donald Trump. All of a sudden, the left likes him. They embrace him.
Oh, like fucking, what's his name? Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo. Why is that motherfucker not on trial for killing God knows how many people in New York? Because he's speaking out against what they're doing to Trump now and everything. So now conservatives like him and everything. Yeah, it's stupid.
You do have, but the hypocrisy of it on the left is insane.
Unbelievable.
Cuomo, I'm actually surprised by, because I'm surprised he actually was honest at one point about speaking up against the legal cases, the felony charge. I was very surprised by that.
Ridiculous. Agard Watches. Would you plug that, please, everybody, about it?
EgardWatches.com. Go to EGARDWatches.com. We have some really cool videos up there. Our police video got taken down, by the way, by YouTube. It got censored.
Why?
Crazy viral. They said that it was spreading hate or spreading some kind of violence because of a scene of a cop saving somebody who was trying to run toward a race, jump into a track. And they gave me a strike. I did want to go over the game. Anyway, that's my company, EgardWatches.com. Lots of videos on there, lots of beautiful watches, jewelry, everything. Not the best pitch.
Lots of fun.
Not the best pitch today.
Oh, kids, this is the Rants of Izzo show. We're live every Monday through Friday. Make sure you wind up following us, supporting us. Go ahead and share the podcast, the vidcast, whatever you want. Get it out there. Tomorrow, Eric Butler and I are continuing the conversation. God knows what we're going to talk about. Or what new information is going to be coming out into the world. I have no friggin' clue. It's insane. Spreely.com. Check it out. And check out the other shows that are on there. Burn Pit Podcast, Report and Opine, Shannon Joy Show, Pete Santilli Show, Evening Rants, everybody. And there might be some Cop Talk Live stuff on there that I do if you're into police content. Other than that, you guys have a great damn day. I got nothing. I got to figure out how to work this stuff. And yeah, we'll see you guys later. That's that. I don't even know how to do this. If I can't. I'm just going to pretend to like fade out because we got nothing. And I gotta press some buttons while we're. Oh my God, where's my stuff here? I don't know, guys. See you later on. It's I don't know. No clue. Figure it out.